to show up. I gotta like figure out the timing here because when I start, I'm not actually started yet. So welcome, my friends, and tonight we have a very specific thing to do, at least for the 30 minutes segment, the first part of the live stream, and then we can go into the Q&A part after that. But the first part is to talk about Braxme, and so that's the topic tonight. So welcome, my friends. Welcome. Let me see. Are we live here on YouTube? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So let me just hold on. We always got to check here if we're live on all these channels because sometimes we're not. Okay, are we live? Entire Meyer, are we live on Rumble? Just confirm for me so I don't have any doubts. Okay, so guys, the video tonight is about, or the live stream is about Braxme. Now, why is this important? Braxme is a product I made originally in 2014. I can't say I've done much to it for a long time. I've been working on it for the last couple of weeks, trying to clean it up, and so it's time to spread the word again so that the community, the privacy community, can go hang out on Braxme. And I'm going to show you a video showing how Braxme works, but the video is only 9 minutes and something long, so it's not going to be very long, so we don't have to worry about running out of time on that. And then you can see exactly how it works. But a little bit of history on Braxme. When I originally made Braxme, there were some limitations, and I have a lot of critics. As you know, a lot of people don't like me, which is fine. If you don't like me, then you should not bug me and not bother me, and go live your life. Don't bother me and the people who are following me. But yeah, I get a lot of people who go into Braxme, the open source code, because it is open source. It's been open source for a couple of years, I think. I lost track, but I've open sourced it, which means I can no longer make money off the main Braxme. It's open source, JPL version 3.0, which is extremely restrictive license. It means that I can never sell the rights to it in any kind of corporate kind of environment. So yeah, so it's open. Anybody can work on it, copy it, and do whatever you want. And I gave it to the community, and I'm going to tell you why Braxme is kind of unique, because it's a little bit different. When I first made it, my goal was to have a platform that worked on any device, and that meant it had to be a web app. So, and there's some limitations on that. When I'll tell you in a moment here when it comes to things like encryption, because it's a web app. And so I got all the critics looking at the source code and saying, hey, this is not true end-to-end encryption and all that. And it's pretty close to end-to-end encryption given the limitations of the web app. But because it's a web app, I'm not going to make any claims of end-to-end encryption, which I can talk about later, but that's not really the point. Because it's a web app, and a web app means the entire program, including all the variables that's unique to you as a person, are kept at the server side, since there's no device. There's no data on the device. Your devices have no data. You can go to 5 devices, a Linux machine, a Windows machine, an Apple device, an iOS, Android, the Google phone, and on all of those, Braxme will run, and you don't have to do anything but log in with your normal username and password, and you'll be able to come in, and there are no special restrictions. Now, you cannot do that on end-to-end encrypted apps like Signal and Session and things like that. You cannot do that because they have to store the private key locally on the device, and it has to be stored in an app. In the case of Braxme, there is no app. So in fact, the app portion of Braxme is just a placeholder for a web app. It's just a web view. There's actually no data kept on the app. There's absolutely nothing of importance other than cookies for session data and what you did last, that the settings choices of what you did last, but there's nothing actually kept on the device, and that allows this kind of flexibility that Braxme offers. The main purpose of Braxme is social media. It's not really a signal or a session or anything like that. It's really social media, and it was designed to do social media. And the group of people that go on Braxme are very privacy oriented. And the reason that Braxme is a little bit different is that Braxme is a no identity meet social media. There's no identification, and I'm going to show you that when you sign into Braxme, you're not asked any ID, nothing. There's nothing that's kept about you that will identify you. In fact, some people are asking, why is my store on Braxme? Well, because it's already there. I made it. So the store is on Braxme, and yes, you have to sign into Braxme just like you sign in either as a guest or whatever. But on Braxme, there's no identification. So all you do is put in a username and password of your choice, and beyond that, we don't really know anything. So there's nothing really problematic about saying, let me just try it out. Let me just sign into Braxme and see what it is all about. And you can do that. And you don't have to remember that you have to give email or a phone number. You are not forced to do any of that. If you want password recovery and you don't want to use your email or your SMS number, you can do that. You can use email or SMS if you choose, because we're gonna take care of it for you. But if you don't, then you can use 2FA using a TOTP app like Authy or Google Authenticator. And so you can use that to log in, or use it as your alternate password, and you can get into the app without having to worry about having email and protect your data. So that's one of the things that's unique about Braxme, because there's no identity. People from the privacy community don't mind hanging out on Braxme because, well, what's the problem? Nobody knows who you are. You can use your real name, and some people do, but many people don't use any kind of real name, or use a fake name, or they don't even put profile pictures on it. Now, yes, I am supportive of Session Minnesota Look, but not in this discussion here. So anyway, the issue is that it's a safe place for privacy, because the goal of the app is no identity. We don't want to record your identity. In fact, the servers do not record an IP address. If you look at the source code, we don't store the IP address. So if you're going to attack Braxme, I'm going to have to find some other way other than to actually record you with your IP address. And so and people have seen that, because the source code is open, and the source code is updated even as of today. So what you see in the source code there is what actually is live on Braxme right this moment. So that was updated today. So normally I don't update it necessarily that fast, but since I'm making a video and people want to see, well, how is it running right now, and you want to actually verify that it is the right source code, yeah, you can actually check that the update is based on today. Thank you, Daisy Craze. Thank you so. Wow, that is so kind of you. Thank you so much. So, by the way, if you want to support me and what I do, you can go to robbraxman.locals.com, and I have a locals account there, and it's actually better for the creator than Patreon, because they take less of the fun. So, and and that's so appreciated that you support what I do. Braxme is provided to you free. It costs me money every month to run it. Nobody donates to running Braxme. It costs a lot of money to run that every month, and I'm not talking about time. Time is free. I donate all the time to Braxme, and many of you donate your time to running Braxme. There's such a good community of people that handle a lot of the even answering questions and all that. The community handles it. There are around 80 some thousand people on Braxme currently. It would be nice if we get it to 100,000. So there's 80,000. I mean, I have 390 391,000 of you here on YouTube, and 82,000 of you on Odysee, and 21,000 of you on Rumble, and 10,000 of you on Twitter. Maybe we can get 100,000 of you. We have 88 around 80 some thousand. I don't know the exact number above 80. Around 80 some thousand users on BraxMe, and many of those are actually recent users. I would say the bulk of those are within the last 2 years. So that's actually a fairly new crowd. So I'm going to show you a video again. If you just came in, I'm going to show you a video about how BraxMe works. I'm just giving you a bit of background, and then we'll tell you about what you do on BraxMe and what this is all about. So I'm going to run the video, and one thing that I want to show you about the video is that I've put the link to the video in the description, and then after this live stream is over, I'm gonna publicize the video and leave it public. Right now it's unlisted. The link is in this video, but then I'm gonna public so that you can look at it a little bit more closely, because it's kind of tiny text, so you may not be able to see it well on the live stream. That's okay if you just get sense of what's up, and then I'll answer questions afterward. But we're gonna let the video run, and I'm gonna cut my audio, and then you can see what it's all about. So here we go. Hold on. Here we go. Well, there isn't much sound. It's just a light music. So it's just a light background music. Okay, so it's just a light music. So this is the platform tour. So whatever we say here can change, but showing you just some of the basic features. By the way, not shown in this video, if you're using the phone, the way we normally deal with the interface is to swipe. So on the phone, it's swipe right. Swipe right brings out the menu. This is on a computer, but swipe right is on the menu. Swipe right to see the menu at any time on a computer. So here I'm not going to upload a photo, so I'm just going to go look at our photo library. So you'll see here, I'm just going to use our existing photos so that I don't have to upload, but you can upload your own photo. And there's an option at the bottom, use profile photo. So the basic thing is that most people join community chats, because this is where all the people are talking, and there's quite a few of these, and many members in each one of these. And you just keep selecting the ones you want to join. And if I were you, I'd just join them all. Not going to force you, but it's probably a good idea to just join them all. So join whatever interests you first, but if I were you, just click on all of them. There's the new users lobby that Cosmic Rose was referring to. A lot of people start here in Rob subscribers chat. An area where we get lots of trolls. Get a lot of trolls on here. We have some anti-troll mechanisms, so trolls can't usually survive. So just showing you that you click on the chat and you can see there. Now a chat is showing only a limited number of items on there, and you have to click on it to select it, like, you know, to see history. So under people, this is where you find people. So this person here found me, and then you hit the start chat there, and then you can start typing a message. There was a title that you could have used earlier, but that's optional. You don't have to put a title in. It's not a bad looking app. Some people don't like it, but you know, it doesn't look like a forum, yes. There's not a lot of functionality now. I mean, we kind of simplified this. So there used to be a lot more. We used to do broadcast, live streams, and all that on this, but I've simplified it. It's not a very complicated app. Now here you can see that you have a photo library area. You can put your photos in here. I'm showing you public photos. The photos are already there for people to share. This is in the public folders. Anyone can actually put anything in the public folder, but we preloaded with a lot of them. And this is the FAQ section, and this is where many of you have questions about phones and Brax2 phones and whatever, and there's a lot of FAQ things in here. So you can always like come in here and see discussions about the phone. This is my photos again. You can upload photos on here from your phone, from a computer, and I'm just showing you public photos. Yeah, so currently, when Brax2 first started, it's not about privacy. There's a lot of people that were just there for social media reasons. But I would say that number of people were around 5,000, that 75 to 80,000 of the current people are interested in privacy. And there's a store. So in case you're wondering where the store is, that's where it is. This is your profile. This is also where, if you look at the bottom, that's where you can close your account if you want to close the account. Or you can just leave it alone. If you leave it alone, nobody is going to care. Okay, so that's the settings area. So that's where tech support is as well. So some of you are asking, where's tech support? There it is. Okay, now we're going to show you blogs. This is another kind of content, and where any of you can make content, and there's a lot here. So we're going to just show you one called Foodies, which is a lot of members, and just to demonstrate, you know, where people can chat in a kind of a Facebook-like format. And you can hit on discover, and then you can see there's a ton of stuff here. Now some of these are not being updated. You know, people make them and then they don't update them. So just because they're listed on here, you got to look at the count, the post count, to see if people are actually active. So because some people make a blog and then they ignore it. But here you can look at the trending to see which ones are actually active today or this week. Here you're going to create your own blog, and it's really pretty simple. You put your blog title, and the next requirement is, if you're going to have a public blog, is you put a hashtag. If it's not public, you don't need to worry about this, but if you're going to make a public blog, you need to have a hashtag. You select a picture for the photo. It has to be in your My Photos. And then the only other thing you're going to decide is if the membership is open or private. If it's private, you have to add your own members manually, otherwise people can join. So there it is, and there's a blog empty. There's the empty blog. You hit the plus sign there to make a blog post. I'm going to make my first blog post here. Lots of cybersecurity people are, in fact, probably the majority are cybersecurity people and cybersecurity trolls. A lot of trolls that don't like me from cybersecurity because, you know, they hate me in cybersecurity circles. So there's the post. So I made my own blog, and just using a sample of photos, and I'll show you where the blog shows up. So if you hit blogs, you see what's new. So if you have members, you can see that. Then you can see yourself on your blog list of blogs that you belong to. And there's your manage my blogs. Here's your blog active in there. And if anybody clicks on your profile, your blogs also show up there by default, although you can control that. There's also a my blog right below there. You can't, I'm going to switch away there, but each person can have your own my blog. You don't have to make a blog. If you want to attach a blog to your profile, that's automatic. A lot of cybersecurity people chat. Now this is where you select your color theme. Pretty simple, as you can see. We're not showing you a lot of functionality here, although I'll discuss some of them in a second. Okay, so we're gonna be done here in a sec. Okay, so now that's the, again, the video is in the link, and then I will release the video publicly after the live stream. Now, the important thing about Braxme, and let me just tell you some of the things that you should be aware of. So Braxme has chat, so you can chat with people in groups or one by one. If you're talking to somebody one by one, it's always encrypted and only visible to the two of you. And then you can even go to the extreme of adding your own private key. If you add a secret key, as we call it, it behaves similar to end-to-end encryption because we do not have the key on the server because you supply the key. And once your conversation starts, we don't have, there's nothing on our server. We only have a hash, so we can't decrypt the message. There's no way for us to decrypt a message unless you go there and plug in the key. So the question is that end-to-end encryption? And the answer is not officially, even though it's as close as you can get to a web app. And the reason I already explained is because Braxme is a web app. There is no place to store the private key. Because of that, because we can't, there's no app running on your device. Everything is running on a browser. There's no way for the processing of the key to happen on your end, because that would have been the best way, is that the encryption is actually done through the key passed through an app, which you can do in Session and Signal and WhatsApp and so on. We can't do that here because it's a web app, but that's a sacrifice that I made in the design because I wanted to work anywhere. It's more about flexibility and being able to use it anywhere, and it wasn't really about keeping the encryption in a big deal. But it is a big deal because at rest, it's impossible for us to decrypt your conversation if you use a secret key. Okay, there's no way to, where do you get the key? So the only way that if there was a real attacker that's going to do this, the only way to intercept is to actually capture the key while you're live. So somebody has to time it, go intercept the server, take the memory of the server, intercept it, which, you know, that's a pretty sophisticated thing. So assuming that, you know, let's say a 3-letter agency confiscated the server, let it run, and then, you know, you have to be live for your key to even show up. Otherwise, the key's not going to show up. The only way for the key to show up is if you're live. So I don't worry about that. I don't think that's really a threat that the average person has to worry about. And neither do I think that that kind of level of encryption is needed, because on Braxme, there's no identity. So if there's a couple of you talking, I have no way of knowing who's talking. No third party can know who's talking. There's no identification, kind of like Session in that, because there's no metadata, so you don't really know who's talking to whom. On Session, the identity is kept in a session key, which is on your device. It's not on the servers, so there's no server that can actually identify you. Over here, you provide the identity, and the only identity is the username and no IP addresses, so there's nothing to to do that. Are my phones out yet? What are you talking about? Brax 2 phones are out. Okay, so that's we're gonna be out of time here. So I'm gonna continue this. I'm gonna tell you more. Again, to repeat the video. The video is going to be the Braxme demo. It's going to be released to be public after this. It's a link right now, unlisted, on the live stream, and you can click on it anytime. Or better yet, just go to Braxme and sign up, and hopefully, we can get to 100,000 subscribers. Which is a very small number of people. But given that I have 500,000 followers, less than 20% of you, like 18% of you are on Braxme. Let's get that higher. Okay, let me take a sponsor break, and then we'll continue. So the sponsor is Linode. So hold on a second. Let me just reorganize this because I screwed it up. So you can't even see the sponsor because I screwed it up. Okay. So yeah, my sponsor is Linode. Linode is a cloud service provider. Some of the functions of Braxme are on Linode, and some are currently, because it's historically been running on Amazon AWS. So if you look at the source code, you can see that, especially the file saving functions are kept on AWS. And then you will also see that we'll talk about the AWS part later. But the main thing is that I'm trying to move everything to Linode, and some of it is now on Linode, but not all of Braxme is on Linode yet. I want to use Linode because Linode would make it cheaper for me. It's very expensive to run Braxme, and it costs a lot of money to run it, and it's an investment. It's a free thing to the community. I run several other things that I offer for free to people on Linode, like I run XMPP .brax.live, an XMPP server for use by the community for free. I do Braxme for free. Now, the reason I have Linode as a sponsor is because I use Linode myself. Linode has been my main cloud provider. I have so many servers on Linode, I lost count. But the majority of my servers, I would say 90% of my servers that have nothing to do with Braxme, 90% of my servers, period, are on Linode. And those have nothing to do with Braxme, mostly. So the reason I use Linode is it's a lot cheaper, and their service is great, and the bandwidth is cheaper. And so if you want to utilize that, then it's really one of the best options I can see out there. So if you go to Linode and use the code Rob Braxman as shown in that link there, they're going to give you $100 credit, which you can apply to any purchases of resources within 2 months. Now, it's unlikely you will spend $100 in 2 months at the beginning because they're that cheap. You can run a server for as cheap as $5 a month, but it's kind of nice to know that you can do that. So Linode, consider them. They're really a great cloud provider. Okay, back to our topic on Braxme, and then I'll answer other questions here. So back to the encryption question. So a lot of there were some idiot actually who from the Reddit people who don't like me. As you know, there's a community people don't like me, and mostly they don't like me because I don't promote them, because they think they're special and I don't promote them, so therefore they call me names like I'm the FUD guy, that I'm just here to give you fear. What I actually am is give you advance warning, because I can sense when things are happening, and other people are waiting to rely on facts to show evidence, and you're not going to see evidence when somebody's hiding it from you. It's like saying, is the three-letter agency that begins with, no such agency with those letters, are they doing mass surveillance? Now, we know they are because Snowden told us, but let's say that Snowden didn't tell you. Now what? Well, I made many statements in the past, about, in fact, things that I didn't even know was happening, but I surmised what would be done, and sure enough, as the Snowden papers released, and as you see in WikiLeaks, for example, there was a three-letter agency. WikiLeaks formed two three-letter agencies, and they were quite revealing, and they actually match what I was talking about. And it's uncanny how accurate I am about predicting this. And the reason is, my understanding is like this. If there's a technology that's available, for example, ChatGPT, right? AI. If there's technology available, someone will always use it in an evil way. It's just like scammers use the internet in an evil way because they find a way. When I find an opportunity for somebody to scam, to hack, I can tell. And I tell you in advance. I'm not going to go say, I'm going to go in the laboratory and go test out. For example, how do you fucking test out what I told you about Apple? Of course, they have to hide that. By design, it cannot be obvious because they're helping three-letter agencies do this, as I told you what the history is since 2015. And what I'm saying there makes a lot of sense. It's not, some of you are saying, are you just speculating here? And it's like, dude. I mean, it's right in your face. They make public statements. They make public statements, and you're like, you're not gonna, you're gonna take those public statements of the world's largest corporation at face value without looking underneath, because you think they're doing it for you. This is the funny part. Most of you will say, well, they haven't said that they're gonna cheat us, so they must not be cheating us. Oh yeah. Okay. So you go to some of these financial organizations, and you think, they're not cheating you, but yet when the market goes down, they make tons of money because they have all this AI programs are running and tracking behavior, and then they short you. They short your stocks. You think they're for you, but they're going to short your stocks because they can make money on the downturn. And they can make money on the upturn or the downturn because they don't care about you. And some of you are actually saying, yeah, but you need evidence. Okay, so if you're the type that needs evidence because you're in the cybersecurity world and that's your job, go to Reddit. Go hang out with those people, okay? That's not my group. My group is the average person. Average person needs to think and needs to be aware what's going on around you, because we're being used, and some of these are clues given to us, and nobody's around to analyze them and tell you, hey, do you suspect some of this going on? I'm very careful what I suspect. I'm very, very careful. I don't do conspiracy theory stuff. I do not. The technology has to be there. The capability has to be there. The only question is, does somebody has the moral ineptitude or lack of morality to actually use the tools that I'm going to talk about? And guess what? Historically, as I've discovered, especially in my field, if the tool is there to do something bad, it's almost always used. Correction. It is always used. So Apple has the technology to do. Apple has the technology to do things like surveillance. So therefore, I'm going to tell you that they have the capability, therefore they will use it. They will use it just like Google has used it. But Apple has gotten a pass, and people are saying, well, Apple said they're privacy oriented, so they're not using that. Wrong. And my video was explaining to you that if they made some of these features, I'm just explaining to you why they made those features. Okay? So if you don't want the advanced warning that I can provide, then Yeah, and you think I'm a conspiracy theorist, you do not belong in this channel. And I don't mind if you leave. It's not a problem for me, because I've been talking about this. I've been talking about, before I went to YouTube, I was on Periscope. So 7 years of Periscope, and I was telling people about the same stuff. And my goodness, 100% of everything I said has actually happened. 100%. Okay? And sometimes it takes a while for it to register that it actually happened, but if I say, that something is going to be misused, it will be. So some of my most popular videos were about the Amazon sidewalk, for example. And yeah, you're gonna see that's gonna be used for surveillance in a big way. They're gonna put battery operated devices everywhere. They can put one in your house, and it's gonna be powered by the mesh network, and it's not gonna require a battery change for a fucking year. Okay? And you're gonna say, well, they can't put a little listening device or a little camera in my house. What's gonna power it? The mesh network. And obviously Apple has the AirTag that is doing that, but they don't need any devices for spying. They already got the phones. The phones are doing the spying. So anyway, that was kind of a side. It wasn't even connected to Braxme, but anyway, talking about let me return to Braxme again. So Braxme has the ability to have the chat conversations, like I said, and it has the ability to let you do blogs, so you can blog and talk about anything you want, and then people who know you can see what your thoughts are, kind of in like a blog format. There were many more features before. We had some community groups. We had a community thing that allowed people to set up an organization on Brax. We had live streaming. There was a ton of features. There was unlimited storage and stuff like that. I took all that out. I've simplified it. So the Braxme right now is just very specific. It's just social media, people to talk, people to blog, and you have my photos and my files. My photos allows you to, put photos for your blog posts and whatever you're posting. You can, add photos to your content. If you want to use it for photo storage, probably not too efficient for that. But one thing that is interesting about the Braxme photo storage is that there's no metadata. We actually strip out the metadata on photos when you upload it to Braxme. So some people actually use it in a different way. If you upload a photo to Braxme and you download it after, you will have a metadata-free photo, which you can then upload to Zucking Zuckbook or Twitter. So it will actually not have any metadata. Then we have a My Files area. Now the My Files is a little bit different, because the My Files does not alter whatever it is you put in My Files, but it encrypts it. So it's kept with encryption. Now all the encryption on Braxme, even though it's the standard encryption on Braxme, is not end-to-end for photos and files. It's not end-to-end encryption, but it is encrypted using a forward secrecy key, meaning everything you post has a different key. And that allows the encryption to be pretty much hack-proof. Because if somebody took our data, for example, the photos and files are stored on Amazon S3, so it's stored on Amazon. We encrypt it on Amazon, but I don't trust Amazon. So we encrypted over their encryption, so it's like double encrypted. So Amazon is its own encryption for being at rest. And then on top of that encryption, we encrypt it again using the key, a forward secrecy key. So if somebody, let's say a 3-letter agency, took every file that was on my account from Amazon AWS S3, and they don't have the forward secrecy keys, which they're not going to have, then they can't, you can't do anything. So that's one of the things that just to make it unhackable. We have never been hacked. Nobody's ever lost data. Nobody's been hacked since 2014. And so anyway, yeah, the Braxme has been around in its early form since 2014. We use it for corporate clients. It was used for corporate communities originally. We were actually marketing as such, and then the side product of it was being used for social media. We don't have that anymore. It's solely open source for social media only, so it's actually pretty simple. Use NAS and store files, photos locally. Said, well, I can't read your characters in there, but well, obviously not for Braxme. Braxme is cloud, so how you're not going to be able to share in social media without uploading photos for social media. So that's what it's for sharing. If you're going to store your own photos, you can store locally. This is for social media sharing. And photos are, unlimited photos can be stored for free, and the files have a limit of 4 gigabytes. I may eliminate that limit for VPN subscribers or email subscribers. Something to think about. That I may for those who use my products, I may eliminate the 4 gigabyte limit or raise it to maybe 100 gigabytes. So to enable like file sharing and sharing files for email purposes and all that. So anyway, that's something that I might do, and to thank those people who do that, because basically those who buy my products support Braxme, because otherwise I won't be able to afford running Braxme. I've been running Braxme for free since the beginning. So, well, that's not true. We had corporate sales back in the day, but in general for the personal user, it's been free since the beginning, and some people are saying, are you going to survive? What if you're not around? How does Braxme survive? Braxme is open source. Braxme is open source. So somebody can always run a Braxme. I mean, the source code is right there. So it's not going to, so, if somebody took over, you have all source code. There's, nothing is secret from you. Will you do a podcast? You mean audio only podcast? Don't know how to do that yet. I guess I guess you can do one on Spotify using even just the audio from my videos here. So it is possible to do that, but I guess I haven't researched that. Let's see. Hello, Sassy Doe. Sassy Doe not mad at me tonight? Usually Sassy Doe is mad at me for something. Stay on. Okay. So, what else do you want to ask here? Okay. Let's see. So anyway, so if you're one of the 391,000 and almost 392,000 subscribers on YouTube, and the 21,000 on Rumble, maybe excuse me, a bunch of you may want to join us on Braxme, because one of the things about Braxme is, since most of the people are privacy oriented, you actually can ask questions, and there are people who already know the answer. You don't even have to talk to me. More sailing video. Well, it's kind of cold to do sailing videos. Check you shoe. Yeah. I haven't had time. It's really cold out there, so I haven't even sailed at all. I haven't sailed in 2023 yet, even though it's possible to sail. I have not done it. Yeah. What is the what am I missing here in the questions here? Braxme has a TOS. Yeah. Uh, if you notice the TOS on Braxme, everything is in your favor. If you read the TOS from Facebook and YouTube and everything else, it's always about what rights they take away from you. And on Braxme, uh, we're guaranteeing that everything is in your favor, your privacy, how we protect you. Everything is about protecting you. So you don't have to worry about the TOS. It's pretty good stuff. Your data belongs to you, yeah. So you can delete your data anytime. Nobody's going to go take it. In fact, because of the encryption, we do not do searches. There's no way to search for data. So there's no, it's encrypted, so it's pretty hard to do that. So we can't do like, search for content. That's why there's no search button, because of the forward secrecy. That's pretty hard to accomplish. Okay. Yeah, the TOS is very simple. There's also privacy thing in there. So yeah, it's and by the way, there's such a large community of people on Brax that are supportive and helping the community, answering even some of the questions that are the common questions that you find here on this channel, or on privacy issues or phones or whatever. And a lot of them know the answer there. We do run tech support on Braxme, but we're a small company, so we have a backlog and we can't necessarily answer you immediately. We will respond within a few hours in the day, but we're not able to respond in minutes because there's a queue. But guess what? The community can actually give you an answer and can point you to fact questions and FAQs. That's mostly what you will find. Can you tell us, Jack says, can you tell us about Measure Braxme as to migrate men in the middle who might be sitting outside Brax servers? First of all, as I said, everything on Braxme is encrypted. That encryption in transit and at rest prevents man-in-the-middle stuff. So if you actually intercept traffic within the server, you really can't do it because everything is encrypted. Even going to Amazon, even saving files to Amazon is going through encryption with forward secrecy. So you can't even hack a key because you don't know what the key is. The key is constantly changing. There's a new key constantly. So because it's always generating a new key. You can't really do that. But again, that's not even important because again, encryption is not as important in a site that has no identity. Braxme has no identity. So if two people talked and they called themselves Jack and Penny, because I'm just randomly picking names here on the chat, and you called yourself, or two random people said, I'm going to call myself Jack and I'm going to call myself Penny. How the heck do I know who it is? There's no IP address. So how does anyone know who it is? So I used to actually even allow access to Braxme via hidden services on Tor, in case you want to really do that. In case you don't trust me that there's no IP address, but there really is no IP address. So it's kind of a, it's really just no one would really use it because they know there's no IP address. You can go audit the server. There's no IP address. So it's actually written into the server code to. If you look at the log, I've actually shown the log live, and you can look at the log, and the IP address has been stripped off the log. So you can't even look at the log, the standard Linux log, because it's running a Linux server. No, because it's already been stripped. I showed it live even. Okay, so you wouldn't lie to me, Penny. Oh yeah, but you see on Braxme, names are not important if you don't want them to be important. If you want to use your real name, it's okay. If you don't want to use your real name, no one's going to force you. Okay, so that's a nice thing about Braxme is when two people are talking and nobody knows who you are, since you do not provide any identity, no one can really intercept you and say, let's check out the conversation of these people because we don't know who's who anyway. So there's actually no way to even know who's talking to whom. Let's say you have to talk to me because you buy a product and you say, well, I gave you an account and you shipped the product to me, so I know your name. Uh, in theory, right? As if that's important. Of course, obviously people trust me because this is what I do, protect you. But many people, because they don't want to trust me completely, they set up a second account. So they buy a product from me on that account. They set up another account and don't use the main account unless they're buying something. And you can do that too. And now, how do I connect the old account to the new account? Without any way of connecting that, then usually what happens is no way to connect. And so it makes it really difficult for me because people buy products from me without a name, and it's hard to ship. Lots of packages end up getting delayed because no one would give me a name. Well, let's not be that extreme, there's no need for that. The app itself is pretty safe. How do you manage to make the cost of privacy so low? Um, Mad Cow, how did you manage to make the cost of privacy so low? Uh, I don't understand what does that mean? The cost of privacy is so low. I just provide services and I take the market value of those services and yeah, make sure the prices are reasonable for that. We're not a big company. It's enough to support the channel and do all this. Uh, and yeah, it's if as you know, on YouTube the subscribers and all that fluctuate. So some months we have a lot, some months we don't. Same with the sales; it goes up and down all the time. So it's not necessarily consistent. So you might say, "Oh, we look at all these new subscribers, so he's making lots of money." Well, then you look at the other months where the subscriber count doesn't grow. Last month we grew a lot. This month we're not growing at all. YouTube. It's nothing unusual there. So, uh, and some people complain to me. This is really funny, guys. Somebody made a comment on my Apple video and said, "Oh, this guy is just selling his phone." So I give you this information about Apple, and this guy wants to minimize my message and say, "Oh, this is just about selling phones." How many people buy phones? I mean, it's such a small number. I have 500,000 followers in social media. Do you think 500,000 people buy phones? Okay, so no. The answer is no. A very small number buy, as you can expect with anything that you sell anything. But it supports the channel, and I provide products that people need because I need them too. Why did I make a phone? Because I need a safe phone. Uh, for years I didn't have one. I said, what do I do here? I want to come up with a solution. So I was looking around and looking at solutions like, if you remember, if some of you were here during the beginnings of my YouTube, I was doing Ubuntu Touch on Nexus 5 because that's the only thing we can use. So I was buying up all the Nexus 5s on eBay and selling them here, and because there was no solution. And then they don't support Nexus 5s anymore, so nobody updated that, and it doesn't work anymore because it's a 3G phone, so it hasn't been supported for a couple of years. And I had to come up with an answer, and so now we have a Brax 2 phone and we have Pixels, but it's a struggle to find a solution. One of my solutions is a Brax router, and the problem is, now you can't buy a Raspberry Pi. I haven't had a Raspberry Pi in a year and 4 months, almost a year and a half. Yeah. So for a year and a half, I couldn't sell you a Raspberry Pi. That means I'm not selling any Brax routers. So yeah, I mean that's pretty terrible that I can't give you that solution. And so I'm gonna come up with an answer. I may be able to use a Intel NUC, the mini PC, and just pick a bare bones one, and that could I believe you can get a bare bones one for about $200, and then we can use that as a base for, and then drop this Raspberry Pi. They're overpricing Raspberry Pi, given the power level. Until NUC is going to be more powerful anyway, and it's got everything on it already. So and you can use it for other things. So that's a solution that I can look forward to in the future. And again, somebody will say, you're just trying to make money from us. Well, no, here's the problem, and you need a solution. I'm gonna, I'm here to use my knowledge. I mean, I'm a programmer. I know how to do the stuff. You know, you can go to my GitHub, and you can see the source code for Braxme. There's other stuff on there. I mean, I don't show what I've done in C. I mean, I'm a C programmer. So I've done millions and millions and millions of lines of code in C, where I had a programming team, and yet, the majority of the code is still written by me. So, yeah. So anyway, yeah. So if Brax router is going to continue, Brax router will run on any Linux computer. I just have to rewrite the program to run on whatever the distro is. So I'm going to pick a distro and move the code over and let it run on whatever distro we want, because it's just a user interface to the distro to control the routing functions. And so I will that's that's a future thing I can do. The Brax Mail as a product, for example, came up because people were asking, well, what do we do? We have Gmail, and should we go to Proton Mail? And of course, Proton Mail has some baggage in there that it's kind of overkill for what you want to do, and then it kind of exposes you because it puts you in kind of a blacklist, because obviously it's obvious when you're using Proton Mail, because that's your email address, Proton Mail. It's like saying, hey, I'm hiding something because that's the title of your email address. Some of you use Proton Mail, it's fine. You can use it, but wouldn't it be better to run something that is taking care of the most important part of email, which is metadata? And that's what we do. We're not trying to encrypt the email, because even with Proton Mail, 99.9% of your email is not encrypted anyway. So there's no encryption when you're sending to other people. Proton Mail is encrypted only between Proton Mail users. So in your normal use, it's not encrypted. So what do you think is happening? Nothing is happening. So you're paying all that, and you're attracting attention to yourself. So I said, let me make Brax Mail. And Brax Mail has a very single purpose, to allow you to stay on the down low with multiple domains. And that's really important, multiple domains. Not a Proton Mail, but domains that don't mean anything. And have that, have no metadata. So you don't have to worry about IP addresses showing up on your header. None of that. That's what Brax Mail is made to do. It's a solution that's kind of unique and low cost. It's not very expensive, and happy to say that we've been running it for how long have we been running it? Year and a half service now, I think. So in the year and a half that Peter, I did not start from the bottom, if that's what they're asking. Okay? Before I went to YouTube, I already had money. So if you're defining that to mean that somehow I became rich off YouTube, then you're quite wrong, because I've owned companies before this. So So it's not uh, uh, something that you can just define and say, oh, he got rich from YouTube, because some people are saying that on Reddit. Oh, he's just some rich guy. Yeah, obviously I can afford to not work, to do all this. When I started this in since 2014 or 2013, when I started programming this like Braxme and everything I've been doing. Obviously, I wasn't making money. I wasn't making money for, wow, 8 years. Made no money. And obviously, I can survive not making money for that long of a period. But guys, obviously the channel has to be self-sufficient. If the channel is not self-sufficient, then I'm not going to be motivated to continue. I'll just stop whenever it's too much of a drain. So Braxme, for example, is run free. Any of you who knows how to run, social media servers and, all the servers you need to just run this, know it ain't going to be free. I mean, many of you are saying, I want to store 100 gigabytes on your platform. And you do. And someone's got to pay for that. And that person that's paying for that is me. And I don't charge you for it. Okay? So just so you know. So anyway, yeah. So I had I had several companies before, and those companies were successful. Some were not. But the last big company I did is still running. So yeah, so I've been a successful entrepreneur. So if anything, what I'm doing now is probably the least successful, but it's what I want to do. My interest is in promoting privacy. It's not about becoming a zillionaire. So if you support the channel and buy products, don't feel like you're just making me rich, because that's not making me rich. Okay, it's paying for this to make sure that we can do it, but it's for you. Braxme, for example, I'm doing for you. There's absolutely no financial benefit to me to run Braxme. None. I mean, I could do the same stuff on locals. I don't need Braxme. You can just go to locals, and I can run everything from locals, and I don't have to pay a dime. I'm not doing that, because there's benefits to you to have a platform where the community can talk freely without my involvement. So, okay, so can you sell some stickers? That's funny. You should make money. Money makes the world go round. Minnesota Luke. Yeah, so I continue to make products based on need, and make a privacy company, and because nobody helps us. Nobody helps us. If you're interested in privacy, no one wants to help us. Apple's not interested in privacy. They want to sell stuff. So how do we counter that? And many of you are like, he's trying to sell stuff. Well, Apple's trying to sell you stuff. Google's trying to sell you stuff. We're trying to compete. We're trying to give you tools to compete. And how are we going to do that? So, of course, I'm going to try to sell you stuff to compete with Apple and Google. Of course, we got to do that. And if that bothers you, then, we're not going to get along, because, I am a capitalist. If you want me to be a communist, it's not going to happen. Okay? I want to make that clear. I'm no communist. I am a capitalist. Thank you, Peter. So I am a capitalist. So, obviously we have to do things that make sense, and, that's how things work. If you are successful and you make money from it, then you can keep going and hire more people and make the company bigger and so on. And so now we're successful enough that I can hire employees. So we have employees, and so things are running with multiple people running the show here, and it's great. So that makes it easy, and there's I certainly don't process your phones. If you think I'm sitting here and flashing your phones, no, there's staff to do that. Right. I do end up answering tech support questions, even though I shouldn't do that, but I end up doing it because people ask me the question. But really, you should go to tech support so tech support can answer the question instead of me. So, is Apple worse than Google? Definitely, definitely. Apple is the mass surveillance company. Google is a individual profiler. It profiles individuals. But as far as mass surveillance, I mean the power of mass surveillance. Wow, the power that Apple has can topple nations. Okay, the power that Apple has can topple nations. It's really, really, important. Mysticulous said, note to self, Rob stays away from political topics. Mysticulous, that may be, but I can state that I'm a capitalist. I've always been a capitalist. When you run companies, you're a capitalist. Okay? So I'm no communist. So is that a political statement? I don't think so. I'm an American after all. I bet Apple will eventually have the power to take over IoT in houses and buildings. You have your own business. Well, that's very good. So I have had my own business. The last time I worked for somebody else was a long, long, long time ago. So I haven't worked for anybody else. I've always been the boss for a long time. And so my titles have been, before I did YouTube, my titles have been CEO, Chief Software Architect, Executive Vice President, depending on the company. But so I've always been a founder. I've always been a founder of a company. I don't necessarily want to be the CEO if I can help it, but I've always been a founder. So just to best way to store passwords is obviously use a password manager. I use KeePass. Some people like to use something else, but I use KeePass myself. I'm not going to go change it, based on the fad. I stick to one because it works. So KeePass. Thank you, Mysticulous. I don't have the I'm always right boss attitude. Well, you're not my employee, Mysticulous. Obviously, there are moments when I have to say I am right. I had, I had programming team in my last company, which I've divested myself from, but I had programming. That was the last thing I did. And I had a programming team on there. So, yes, I also use KeePass offline. If I needed to put KeePass on multiple devices, I can pass the database file manually between the devices. I do not store it online. I don't mean to flood, but I'm trying to ask a question. Yeah, but you're spamming by doing that. Just ask the question, and if I see it, then I'll respond. I said, ever crossed your mind to move out of California to, say, Texas? Matt B., I mean, in theory, that would be nice, but actually, California, where I am, is very nice physically. I mean, forget about the other issues. Just I like sailing and so on. And we can sail 12 months out of a year. And I can't do that in some places. I guess you can do it in Texas and Florida. But here in California, I mean, it's always sunny. So each letter in a word is, okay. Thoughts on Chinese claim they can break 2K RSA. They can break 2K RSA with quantum computers. Takes a long time, though. RSA. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that size. That sounds kind of incredible. Are you saying they broken 256? I mean, mostly they've only tried to break 128-bit, and that takes a lot of resources. I'm not even sure anyone can break 256 without a quantum computer. So I don't know startup. I don't know what that is. Do you still post about ham radio? I actually do, for example, field day every year, and I've posted a video a couple of years ago on field day on my sailing channel, because my ham radio gear is on my boat. My ham radio gear is on the boat, and so I did field day and I did all that. Chinese sent over a surveillance balloon. You mean from China to the U.S., or you mean to Japan? I let my ham radio expire. That's a good point, AM4org. That's a good point, but that's why people ask me what my call sign is, and there's no reason for you to know my call sign. If I'm forced to do it when I'm online, but on the air, I'm not on the air. There's no reason for me to give it to you. Over Montana? How did you fly a balloon from China to Montana? What are your thoughts about regular SMS? The same as any normal PSTN thing. It's obviously surveilled. Whatever you put on SMS is kept in the Zucking BI DCIS database. From Canada? So Canada was in on it? So, what if ABC hears you singing one? So, what about Jay? Jay, why are you discussing that right now? Obviously, I made a session video. I'm a supporter of session. And guess what? The next video is LokiNet. Okay, so there. If you're asking me questions about Oxen and all that, it doesn't matter, because the next video is LokiNet. Not just LokiNet, but LokiNet will be featured in the next video. So there. That's my answer to you. I told you I really like session. So linear Brax phone never lose service. Linear Brax phone. What is a linear Brax phone? What is LokiNet? Lindy, that's what you need to find out. Otherwise, it won't be fun. So that'll be the title. That'll be in the title of the next video. You will see the word LokiNet, and we'll discuss that. Don't research it now. There's no point trying to figure that out. We're gonna discuss that on the next video. But it is connected to session. So yes, ChatGPT. Yeah, I haven't done any. I've done general videos on AI, and not specifically about ChatGPT, because my AI stuff is concerned about image recognition, which is what the issue is with the Apple iPhone. Image recognition neural engine. Normie Android phones, phone manufacturer, and Google app launcher. Is this correct? Normie Android phones. I don't know, Neil. What are you saying? If you have a normie phone, the Google spyware is on there. You can't take it out. Okay, so I don't I don't really use DuckDuckGo anymore. We start dumping that a year ago when they started to do censorship. Do I offer a phone? Yes, it's in my store in Braxme. Yeah, I offer many phones depending what you want. So we can offer Pixels with various operating systems, including Lineage OS, Calyx OS, or whatever you want to install on it. But primarily we sell Brax 2 phones like this, and these Brax 2 phones are branded running Brax OS, which is better than Lineage OS because we control it. So our open source is controlled by us instead of somebody else who may not support it anymore. So anyway, that's what we offer. So what is unique about, so if you're new to the channel, you don't understand this, the Google phones that like Brax 2 are basically invisible to big tech. This is great because surveillance wise, there's no identity to the phone. So one of the questions is, how do you spy on a phone if you don't know the identity of the phone? Okay, so that's one of the, on a Google phone, they know the Google ID. On an Apple phone, they know the Apple ID, and you're keeping all your stuff in the cloud. Whereas this one has nothing. It's not connected to anything. It doesn't save data to any entity outside of itself, and it doesn't have an identity. There's no login. You've never logged into this phone. It doesn't, have any kind of identity that connects it to you. And if you use a VPN with it, or if you stick to cell data, or if you use a voice over IP app on it mostly, and avoid texting, then you actually become completely invisible. Pixels are nice. The only problem with the Pixel, they are more expensive than the Brax 2 phone. This is actually a pretty inexpensive option. The problem with the Pixels is that the OS is made by somebody else, and there's some things that they can't do that we can, because we control the OS. Because Lineage OS itself isn't designed for privacy, so there are things in it that may concern you, like location tracking is not 100%. I mean, it's good, but it's maybe at 80%. A Brax 2 OS is as close to 100% as you can get. For example, on a Brax 2 phone, by default, the GPS doesn't work indoors. So there's no way to, do this Wi-Fi triangulation business because it's not built in. It's taken out. That is not true on a Lineage OS phone. They work on any network. The Brax 2 phone has some issues with some Verizon. It does work with some Verizon, but not 100%. So if you're going to use Verizon, stick to a Pixel, just to be sure. Or use a Brax 2 phone. If it doesn't work, exchange it for a Pixel. I will take the exchange. So the phone is this one is very moderately priced. This is $420. All complete, comes with a case. Not this case, but somebody makes this case. But it comes with a case and charger and all that, and screen protectors, and that is $420 with a 1-year warranty. Australia is no problem. Canada is no problem. UK is no problem. EU is no problem. There's a different version for the EU. In the Americas, you need the one that says Brax 2 USA. So this model is, well, actually, this is the international version. So this will work in, this is actually international, the one I have here. And it works in the US. The Brax 2 USA is the one made specifically for the Americas. And it has an additional channel that's not used international, that's band 4. So band 4 is only on the USA version. The Brax phone, again, the issue is the Brax phone does not have any identity. So the Pegasus attack is primarily focused on iPhones. So can they hack? Anyone can, can hack at the state level, could potentially hack you via SS7 on a baseband modem. However, that doesn't allow you access to the operating system, like direct to the phone itself, the actual operating system. Uh, I don't know how you would get into that at the moment. You can never know, because if you're at the state level, they have backdoors in the baseband modem. So yeah, if you want to have a secure phone uh, for state level attack, I would take a Brax phone. By the way, the model prior to this is version 2. Version 1 was the same as the black phone. Version 1 is the same as the black phone. So the black phone, or I think it was black phone 2, second version of black phone was the version 1 of this. So this is version 2. So this is the next iteration model from the original black phone. So this is running Brax OS, which is a fork of the open source Lunar OS. So just which again is pretty much, like I said, is based on what was used for the black phone. The open source for Lunar OS, which is posted in some videos, it's also on Brax.me in FAQ. The source code for Lunar OS is identical to the source code for Brax OS, except for images. So there's just minor differences, like our upload server is ours. So it connects to our upload server to do the update, and the images are for us. But other than that, it's the same as Lunar OS. Was salvageable metal used to make the phones? Well, the phone is primarily plastic. So yeah, maybe we'll have more metal in the next one. But this one currently is more plastic. Will your phone work? Yes, it will work in Canada, Saddam. Yes. Is Lineage better than Calyx? I would say, I don't know. Probably, I'm going to guess Calyx is better. I mean, for pixels. See, Lineage works on more devices. Calyx is only for certain pixel models. So you can't actually do that kind of comparison directly, because if you're running a Motorola something, there's no Calyx for you. You're going to have to use Lineage. We use Lineage for most of our phones. We use Calyx for Pixel 6 and up. So I use Pixel 6 and up. We use Calyx because that's the only thing supported. It's fairly good user-friendly OS. Now, I still like Brax OS because we control it. I know what's in Brax OS. Brax 2 phones uses simple mobile apps. So you will see that there's actually a partnership with the guy that does Simple Mobile. So he's actually affiliated. In fact, the guy sells the same phone. Okay, so Simple Mobile sells a Simple Mobile phone, which is the same phone. Okay, so in the EU. He doesn't sell in the US. So he sells the same phone in the EU and calls Simple Mobile phone, because it's a partnership. It's the same. It uses Lunar OS as well. Okay, we're down to the last 6 minutes here. Any more questions on Brax.me? So hopefully you're going to join us on Brax.me. Simple Mobile sells a Simple Mobile phone. Simple. There is no RFID in credit cards anymore. They used to be more common, but they don't do that anymore. You said Brax 2 smoothly operates from major versions. We just did one. So we just upgraded the Android version on on a Brax 2 phone. Yes. So we've done that. So whereas on other platforms you cannot do like on Lineage you cannot upgrade from, let's say, Lineage 17 to Lineage 18 without redoing a reset, and you lose all your data. So you can't do that on Lineage 18. Well, we can do it on Brax OS because again we control it. So there's a lot to say about controlling it. Thank you, E Greens. Thank you so much. Band 4, there's no CDMA anymore. No one uses CDMA, so that doesn't mean anything. All bands are LTE bands, and then they join up the bands for 5G by doing multi-channel. So it's still LTE. It's just multi-band LTE is what 5G is currently. They misused the term 5G now. It's not the 5G as we expect it to be. So now 5G is just multi-band LTE. Truck driver apps want where you're at. I'm currently streaming on Rumble right now. You can upgrade Lineage without losing your data setting. Not really. Not if you're going to go from, Lineage, a major version. Or you can only do for minor versions. Major versions, we have to do a reset. Yes, I'm using T-Mobile MilliWeb. In fact, I'm using Brax 2 International with T-Mobile. I'm not even using Brax 2 USA. I'm using T-Mobile. And let me just remind you, in the last few minutes here, do not use Ting.com. It's a sucky company. It's a bad company. They blacklisted all of the Brax 2 phone users and their accounts, even if it's not a Brax 2 phone, because they're a stupid company because they want to spy on your IMEI. Okay, so no. Proton mail susceptible to beacon attack? Probably not. I'm gonna guess no. I am using Linux right now. In fact, my main computer is Pop OS. This computer that's in front of me is also Pop OS. Right. Okay, down to 3 minutes here. Can I buy Brax 2 International and the cost? Go to the website and it's $420 plus shipping. A Brax 2 phone is the normal weight of a normal phone. No, it's not. It's not that heavy. I would say a Pixel is heavier. This is Brax 2 phone though is large sized. It's an XL size phone. Okay, so it's the size of a bigger phone. Okay, so we're running out of time, so I'm just going to pay attention to things that make sense to answer. Does Simple Mobile have the same server upgrade? No. No, they have their own. My update server it's posted on Brax.me, mdm.brax.me. That's my server. The cases, there's somebody from Brax.me makes these cases. In fact, I have several here. So he 3D prints this and sells them for $15 a piece. 3D printed polyurethane, so flexible, and he's on Brax.me. You contact him, and he will sell you one for $15. I think he sells them on eBay. I think, I'm not certain. So anyway, that's a little plasticky. Well, it's not plastic. What in plasticky? It's obviously it's flexible. Yeah, it should be plasticky. What is it supposed to be? Leather? It's a case. So anyway, yeah. So you can get it from there. We do have stock of phones. I think I'm low on some Pixel models, which we will restock midweek. Do you have to update phone OS manually? Yeah, it gives you the notification, and it would cost more than that to 3D print them. He's he's making them. I think he can't be making them if he doesn't make money doing it. So it must be okay. Okay, so thank you very much. I guess I'm out of time, and thank you for watching, and appreciate you uh, coming here and listening to this talk about Brax Me. So good night.